There is no sound more nostalgic than the toot-toot of a whistle and the clang-clang of a bell from a trolley. Located about 20 miles southwest of the Steel City of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, the age of the electric pony is alive and well at the Pennsylvania Trolley Museum. Every year, in conjunction with the annual Washington County Agricultural Fair in mid-August, the museum offers park and ride shuttle service from its on-site parking lots to the Washington County Fairgrounds located adjacent to the museum's railway.
County Fair Park and Ride is, apart from our Santa event, our largest event of the year. Like on rush hour nights, specifically Wednesday and Friday nights, we could expect and haul up to and over 2,000 people in a day.
Until next stop will be Fairgrounds. Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
The name of the game is just to get as many people through the door as possible. The past couple years, we've been partnering with local businesses where our reduced park and ride rate also gets you to explore the regular museum offerings. So during the day, you could come out, get the full experience for your $5, and then take a ride over the fair for the evening.
It's a yearly tradition for some it's a convenience, and for us it's the best time of the year.
All right, 2 big steps getting up. This will be the next part of the fair. Please be careful on your way up.
It's $5 a person, but the benefit is the fair's parking lot is usually very muddy. It's just a grass field. So you have a 100% chance of your car leaving the parking lot at the end of the night if you park with us. My name is Dominic Bodek. I've been volunteering here since 2022. So PTM, the origins of it started in the late 1930s, early 1940s. There was a group that created what they called the Pittsburgh Electric Railway Club. And they were just a bunch of rail fans. They would go around the system, they would do fan trips. They ended up buying a low-floor trailer car, B423. They set that up as their clubhouse.
From there, they passed the hat around and they bought Pittsburgh Railway's M1, 3756, and West Penn 832. And they brought those cars here under their own power in 1953 in February, and the museum grew from there. My name is Jack Jost. I've been a volunteer here at the Pennsylvania Trolley Museum for just a little over 6 years. Trolleys have been running for the Washington County Fair for as long as the interurban has existed. The station used to be across the creek, and after the interurban shut down, there was no trolleys until we started back up in the 60s when we ended at Museum Road. And ever since then, every single year we've been running trolleys, adding service. As more track gets built, we were able to run to Arden and offer park and ride there. And as the east site got built, we were able to add more stops, and it just grows every year.
Even back in the Pittsburgh Railways days, the trolleys ran to the county fair. That was a big tradition for a lot of the people in Washington, Canonsburg, all the areas around here in Washington County. So we're able to continue that tradition today with our museum line.
Right where we're sitting now, actually, a county home siding was built to serve the Washington County Fairgrounds. The reason the siding is as long as it is to hold the cars at the end of the night to take everyone home from the fair. That siding's still doing what it was built to do for Pittsburgh Railways all these years later.
County Fair Park and Ride is a unique experience where you park your car in our lot. We take you to the fair, just like your grandparents did. And the unique thing is that we are probably the only rail operation where you can still park and ride a trolley to the fair. My name is Tom Hildebrand, and I have been a member here since 1981. Most cities always had rail transportation, interurbans, trolley lines, and they had specific connections. Some, like in Pittsburgh, they ran to Bethel Park, and then they took buses to the fair.
I would too love one of your cars. Oh, 66.
Every day of county fair operations runs from 10 a.m. until 11 p.m. Given the long day, operations are split between 2 shifts so as to not run volunteers tired from a 13-hour-plus day. Each shift is preceded by an operations meeting to discuss specific schedule patterns, track conditions, and crew assignments. We were visiting for the Tuesday and Wednesday of Fair Operations Week, providing us an opportunity to see a variety of cars in rotation. The first order of business of any day of fair is establishing base service. When running an operation such as this, it is important to maintain a reasonable frequency between cars, otherwise such an operation would be inefficient. It is about 9:30 by the time cars start rolling out of the Founders Car Barn at the west campus of the museum. Base service for Wednesday operations will start out with Rio Open Car 1758, New Orleans number 832, Philadelphia and Westchester Traction 78, and West Penn Railways 832. We'll discuss more about these cars later. In addition to the base service cars, we see Red Arrow Line 66 pull out to be shuffled one track over to make room for staging tripper cars later for the evening rush.
Dispatch answering, go ahead. Hold your position for the moment, 14. 10-4, we'll hold.
Having finished getting some routine maintenance, Red Arrow Lines 14 makes an appearance to be hustled over to Founders Car Barn.
I've done it this long, I may as well do one more.
Come on, girl. You get orderly.
We'll get it pulled up here and then...
By now, base service has been established, officially kicking off county fair operations for the day.
Car 78 was built in 1932 by the J.G. Brill Company of Philadelphia, and it went into service in 1932 as a one-man car, the first one-man cars for the Philadelphia and Westchester Traction Company, which would later become the Philadelphia Suburban Transportation Company, better known as the Red Arrow Lines. This car would stay in service up until the formation of SEPTA in 1970, when it was changed from a red and cream scheme to what we like to call the Gulf Oil colors of blue, white, and orange. And it stayed with SEPTA until 1982, when that car, as well as several of our Red Arrow fleet, was purchased by the PTM and came here, and the car was restored in the mid-1990s.
No, it is a part. We have cars. One's the same. Oh, so more than
Midday Tuesday, we see Port Authority Transit 4004 back out of Founders Car Barn to be put into rotation. Additionally, we see Rio 1758 depart outbound for the Fairgrounds.
Keys to my car are upstairs.
4004 will reverse down the entire length of County Home siding to follow Pittsburgh Railway's 1711 after it passes. In the meantime, West Penn Railway's 832 arrives at the West Campus coming inbound.
West Penn 832 was originally built in 1929 for the West Penn Railways and the Valley route. It served Pittsburgh's Coke region as an interurban car. It was the only air brake car on the West Penn Railway's roster. It was acquired by our museum and was one of the original 3 founding cars added to our collection. It was restored in the late 2010s. It's become a mainstay of our operating fleet ever since.
After 832 clears County Home, Pittsburgh Railway's 1711 pulls through the siding's west switch, with 4004 following suit.
When it comes to 1711, that car was built in 1949. It is currently restored as its as-delivered condition for the Washington Interurban. It for fare service, it is a good car for during the day when you have small crowds due to the loading and unloading, and it also gets really hot. You won't really see that out on Wednesday night. And 4004 is our most modern example of a PCC. It was built as Pittsburgh Railway's 1739, and in the 1980s, Port Authority completely rebuilt it down to the trucks and brought it as 4004. We got it in 2000, and it's been running here as a staple pretty much ever since.
Before continuing on, let's get a lay of the land in which PTM operates. with over 3 miles of track, 3 car barns, a car shop, a visitor center, the Fairgrounds station, and half a dozen historic structures dating from the golden age of travel by streetcar. PTM is more than just a museum, and County Fair operations proves this point.
We're a real transit system. I mean, these cars, almost 100 years later in most cases, are still doing what they're built to do. We fill them up at the end of the night, standing room only, and take people home. And it's really an awesome thing when our small army of volunteers can run our own transit system for 1 week out of the year.
Fair Ops is probably the only place that you can actually ride a historic trolley as it was intended to operate. You know, running our 7-car rotation, I mean, we're not to say we're beating on these things, but we're using them as intended. Like, I've had trips where there's been like 100 people in the car. You know, standee room only, everyone's holding on to every handrail, and it's like this, that's how it would have been back in the day during rush hour. It's amazing to be able to see the cars doing what they were built to do, and the cars seem to enjoy it too. Like, when you get a full crush load on them, they run great.
It really shows what we can do as an organization and shows that these cars still can run transit service. It's honestly hard to imagine that these cars are still doing what they were built to do in preservation. If you've never seen it before, it's breathtaking almost from a preservation perspective.
We basically show the public that the trolleys are not just here to provide rides every so often, but they're here working as actual transit vehicles like they were in New Orleans, Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, back from the 1930s all the way up until the 1950s.
Let's take a ride to the Fairgrounds station aboard 4004. During County Fair Park and Ride, cars serve 5 stops. The Ellis stop, serving the parking lot at Eden Electric, the East Campus Welcome and Education Center, serving the main museum parking lot, the West Campus Old Museum parking lot, Arden Loop, serving the small village of Arden Mines, and the Washington County Fairgrounds. We'll watch a few cars here at Fairgrounds for a bit.
Temporary auditory warning device. At least it's not one of mine, the auditory warning device on the end. Oh, that's the Cleveland board, right? Yeah. Yeah, because
As a side note, yes, dear viewer, your eyes are not deceiving you. There are 2 trolleys numbered 832 in the same shot at the same platform for our park and ride transit operation. While West Penn Railway's 832, the orange car, was acquired because it has roots to the Pittsburgh area, the recognizable New Orleans Thomas Purley car number 832 has a more iconic story.
In terms of New Orleans, that car was built in the 1920s and ran in New Orleans on the famous Desire Street line. It was on the cover of Life magazine promoting the original run of the show. We acquired it in 1964 as it was a ready-to-run broad gauge trolley for the price of a whopping sum of $1 plus shipping. But it was shipped up here on a railroad flat car, and it was one of the first couple cars at the museum, and has been a fan favorite ever since.
Jack. Yep. Third 2 behind you.
be going again. Now you come on. Don't. There, take a picture. There, watch. All right, come on.
We'll now take a ride aboard Rio 1758 back to the museum's east campus. The friendly motorman at the controller is Jack Demian, museum vice president.
That car was originally built as a kit of parts from the Brill and shipped down to Rio de Janeiro, where they built a car body with the local hardwoods. It served its life in Rio and was originally a group of about a dozen cars imported to the United States by trolley museums to be used to represent all the breezer cars that no longer existed here. It was originally its first home was at the McGee Trolley Museum in Bloomsburg, Pennsylvania. And after that, it kind of bounced around a little bit between a hobby shop and Operation Orlando, Florida, before eventually finding its permanent home here.
As we clear Enterprise Y, we see a long red building to our running left. This is the Trolley Display Building. Completed in 2004, this building allows visitors to get up close and personal with cars in the museum's collection, with operational pieces being rotated out on a regular basis. Having arrived, we set up along Volunteer Boulevard to watch Port Authority 4004 and West Penn 832 make their rounds. Volunteer Boulevard represents, in large, your typical environment in a small city street setting with a trolley line running right down the middle of Main Street.
Coffee to a hole here. I'm gonna have you hold for me. That's what you want.
Andrew. A surprise appearance is made by Port Authority 1713, painted as the Pittsburgh Steelers' terrible trolley. The short story of this car is that it was decided in the early 1980s that Pittsburgh should have a terrible trolley, along the lines of the Steelers' terrible towel. The car would be retired from Port Authority Transit of Allegheny County in 1998, and the car was sit in storage until being acquired by PTM in 2023, and was restored and unveiled in 2025. On our way back to the museum's East Campus, we stopped by the intermediate signals 149 and 150 along the former Washington interurban right-of-way. Back at the East Campus, Rio 1758 arrives. We'll take a quick trip down to the West Campus. After grabbing dinner, we make our way up to Yanavich to watch cars run up the Arden Valley extension. By now, we have shown off how many cars PTM runs for fair service. Though all were built as machines to do the same thing day in and day out, they all have their traits, to which volunteers have formed preferences for operating them over.
I really like the New Orleans car, because I mean it does everything you need it to do. It's good with getting people on and off, and you can get it to move and keep the schedule.
I usually like number 66 because of how well it handles our tracks. But the wood seat for the operator is not all that comfortable. So I try to grab either Port Authority 4004 or Red Arrow 14 if the chance arises.
I always love running the open car. People will wait for a full rotation of the fair service to ride the open car, because a lot of people, that's their car. When they come to the fair, they want to ride the open car. And even when we're open for regular service, people will call up and say, hey, is the open car out? And it's always a great time when you open up that car and you turn around and everybody's just having a great time because you're flying down the track, and it's just a good time.
This is a very different opinion than a lot of people, but I love running the high floor cars for fair. 4145 and 2227. They're just big cars, and you can cram a lot of people in them. While they are slow to load, you can get a lot of people where you want to go pretty efficiently with those cars. And it being a two-man car with manual doors, it's a lot of fun to run. Big old K controller, and there's not much between you and the electricity. No complicated circuitry or anything, it's just you and the car.
This one right here that we're sitting in, car 66 from the Red Arrow.
Coming back to Wednesday, we are greeted with an appearance of Pittsburgh Railway's line car M210. This car was built in 1940 at Pittsburgh Railway's Homewood shops, using components salvaged from two other cars. Being a line car, its assignments revolved around work on Pittsburgh Railway's hundreds of miles of overhead catenary. PTM received the car in 1995 when it was declared surplus by Port Authority Transit and donated to the museum. It continues work as an overhead line car to this day at PTM. While PTM is home to the last place you can ride a trolley to the county fair, it is also home to one of the oldest operating diesel locomotives in America. Situated on a short alignment of standard gauge track, this is Armco Steel B73. Built in 1930, this is a Baldwin visibility cab diesel. It served the American Steel and Wire Division of the United States Steel Company before being displaced in 1942. After being overhauled by Westinghouse, it went to the American Rolling Mills Company of Butler, Pennsylvania in 1947. After being displaced again in 1965, it was eventually donated to PTM in 1970.
That's good! Nice and easy. Might almost be a coast. Hey, other way. You're cut. All right, be ready on that brakes. Stop! Good.
Here we see the unit exercising its power plant, a 400 horsepower Hamilton engine, providing power to the museum's trolleys. It is not uncommon for B73 to serve as a backup power source for the trolleys whenever there is an extended power outage in the local area. Meanwhile, back out front, the The trolleys continue operating as if their power wasn't just coming from a 96-year-old diesel-electric locomotive. Now let's take a ride aboard New Orleans 832. Our trip will be split between motormen Jack Jost and Louis Mariano.
You always get a joy out of running fare service, and as Louis stated, doing what these cars did and this line was built for with this siding. That's the part of the reason we chose this site. It was the longest passing siding on the Pittsburgh Railway system.
Oh, wow.
Gave us more car storage, granted outside, but we still had a line to run on and plenty of space for cars. Because up until the TDB was built, this track was completely full of storage. Cars under baggies, and you know, those aren't great for cars. It's also cool, this pair of steps. It may look insignificant, but they're the original county home steps. There used to be a shelter that sits right here by this pile of bricks, and it was the men's county home. And it was one of the few undisturbed parts of the interurban. All the signals, too, on this part of the line are their original spots. Some on original footers.
Oh, wow.
This stopped the fare.
Yeah, I'm going to see if they want it.
Sounds good, buddy. Please watch your step as you exit the car. Enjoy the fare. Any other takers? All right.
Ding ding. Back there.
The cool thing about the Valley route is the right-of-way we're running on was owned by the Pennsylvania Railroad for the Arden Mines branch. There used to be a standard gauge, broad gauge diamond right about where Museum Road crosses our trolley line. We run all the way up to about the last quarter mile of the line. It goes through the town of Arden, and that's where the coal mine was. We bought the right-of-way since the Pittsburgh Railways demolished the bridge that would have taken us towards Washington. And the sewer company tore up the right-of-way that would have taken us towards Pittsburgh.
No, it's going back up on display.
I was gonna say, I would get out and wait to get on that one.
No, we're getting the cars ready that we want for this evening, and that's not one of them. So.
Had to ask.
Yeah, worth a try.
When we passed it on the first way, she went, "I want to ride the tiny one." I'm like,
that is one of my favorites. Hi, Ned.
that yellow train comes back around, we'll get on it, okay?
Hi, welcome aboard.
Hi. You can stop over at West for me.
West,
up there so I can get off.
absolutely. All right. Well, we're ready to go, so.
outside ramp. Once you get to PCC now.
Yeah, you just.
Is this one a banded shift?
Yeah. Yep, have a good one.
As mentioned by Louie, cars were getting reshuffled in preparation for the evening rush. While we were out and about on 832, Philadelphia and Westchester 78 was pulled from rotation and swapped out for Red Arrow Lines 66. We now join motorman Sean Kenny on board 66 for the evening shift.
Red Arrow car number 66 was part of the third and final order of center door type cars for the Philadelphia and Westchester Traction Company, placed between 1919 and 1926. The car remained in service as a two-man car up until the 1940s and 50s. And then when SEPTA was formed in 1970, the car was deemed surplus and they sold it to us.
The Ellis stop, opened for the 2024 fair season, serves the Eden Electric parking lot. It is named after Art Ellis, the founding father of the Pennsylvania Trolley Museum, who sadly passed away in late 2024. Until his passing, he was the oldest member of the Pennsylvania Trolley Museum, having been involved as far back as the Pittsburgh Electric Railway Club days. By now, trippers have been pressed into service. Trailing 66 is Red Arrow Lines 14.
14 was part of the last order of new cars for the Red Arrow lines and served for the Red Arrow and later SEPTA up until 1982, when the 78 and the 24, as well as other maintenance cars, were purchased by the museum, and then 14 was restored in 2004.
The next pair of cars is Rio 1758, trailed by Philadelphia and Westchester 78.
Hello everyone, how are you today? Good, alright, it's going to be 2 big steps getting into the car. Please be careful. This will be the next car to the fair.
So this January, I think, great. Got there now, that's down, it's crazy. Yeah, oh yeah, it's run down.
We didn't realize those were the days.
Oh yeah.
We didn't realize it.
Yeah.
Let's see what she got. Moving her up.
We got I think she called somebody up town across the board. I don't think she called Oh, they're on TV. SHLY. They're on TV. Look at what they do now.
Get up there. Big step.
Big steps, please be careful.
Pretty cool. It is awesome. It really is.
I know. I just walked you right to
About an hour after the outbound rush, trippers are pulled out of rotation for the time being. At the East Campus, we see Pittsburgh Railway's 1138 fresh out of the shop from maintenance. Trailing it is New Orleans 832. Volunteer Boulevard is partially double track to allow for cars to operate on a short, quote-unquote, city loop ride, or the longer interurban ride. With the city loop not operating during county fair, this allowed for trippers to lay over on the city loop track.
I can be.
Yep. Later in the evening, we made our way back out to Fairgrounds to watch the inbound rush. Tripper cars have been placed back into rotation by this point.
Tripper service is an additional trip added to your main schedule to carry heavier loads too.
It's a way to efficiently add capacity to the railroad. We add cars that strictly run between Fairgrounds and the park and rides.
A tripper car will follow a regular car all around the railroad until it gets to Fairgrounds. At that point, the lead car will continue on to Arden, while the tripper car terminates at Fairgrounds and changes ends, and then it will follow or become the tripper of another inbound car that has just come in from Arden.
But I'm letting you know now. Be helpful.
Feel free to board the orange trolley that will be pulling in on the creek side of the platform. Number 832, the orange trolley. After that. Looking for express direct service to all parking lots. We will put you aboard here the yellow Rio Open trolley now boarding. If the seats fill up on that, we also have our maroon colored car, number 78, pulling in.
Turnaround times demanded by trippers, the cars usually consist of 2 crew members at either end, with an additional helper on the ground to swap trolley poles, in order to streamline the changeover process, all while loading passengers for the inbound trip.
side of the platform for immediate loading and departure to all parking lots. If there are no seats available, you are free to stand and hang on to a stanchion if you're comfortable with that. We will have more cars over here in about 3 minutes for additional loading and departure. One car will be heading up the line to the village of Arden. Scenic ride up to the loop at the end of the line at Arden, riding through the woods and return to Fairgrounds and then to all parking lots. Number 66, the maroon and cream color car for the longer scenic ride up to the loop at the end of the line and then all parking lots. Green color car will be the longer scenic ride before returning to the Fairgrounds and all parking lots. The green New Orleans car on the creek side of the platform will be express direct service to all parking lots. For express direct service to all parking lots, come on down to the green New Orleans car boarding underneath the canopy on the creek side of the platform.
Just one. Oh, you're welcome. Thank all of our operators. I try my best.
I think someone needs to tell you that if they haven't already.
I appreciate
Boarding on the creek side of the platform.
Fairgrounds! Watch your step, folks.
Now boarding for the longer scenic ride to the loop at the end of the line.
I got this.
Are you going on that train?
This can't go in there.
Good job, Jackson. I'm not waiting for that
I love y'all to death. Yeah, they go straight to the parking lot. I'm gonna need Daddy's cup.
That was a smooth start.
If the seats on number 78 fill up the maroon color trolley, feel free to stand and hang on to a stanchion. We will also...
Riding back to the parking lots?
We're just waiting.
Front doors!
It is of interesting note that PTM is one of the few and a handful of trolley museums that are wheelchair accessible. Red Arrow 66's doors open wide enough, allowing for wheelchairs to be loaded onto the car, after some work lifting the wheelchair on a lift. In addition to 66, Philadelphia Transportation Company PCC 2711, also in the museum's collection, is also wheelchair accessible. As the inbound rush starts to wind down, we head back to the intermediate signals to watch cars run through the night along the former Washington Interurban.
Coffees, all Surfer cars full, single car meet.
1758 copies, then all Surfers are full.
Every year for fair operations, PTM keeps track of the annual ridership numbers. For the 2026 county fair season, PTM saw over 9,100 riders ride the trolleys to the fair. Tuesday's numbers alone were double those of the previous years. But what is it about PTM and fair operations that the volunteers love?
If you're working for fair, it does take a lot out of you, especially if you're working the rush hour services. But it's a good series of mind games. It keeps your mind in check. Okay, I have to meet this car at this location. I have a yellow signal at this location or something like that. I have to run nonstop to Fairgrounds, nonstop to the East Campus or something like that. You're always quick thinking when it comes to running these services. And that's the fun of it. It always just keeps your mind in check.
Well, I know everyone said it, but we all really do feel like a family. And Fair Week is the family reunion, so we all get to see each other. Everyone from out of town comes in. We all just hang out for the whole week.
When it comes to something like fair, we all get together and we make it happen. You know, everybody tries to be fair, and it's a great time. It's like a family reunion, a 7-day-long family reunion.
I'm like a kid, a dad or grandkid to all these youth that are working here. So I'm the original youth member. Back when I joined in the 80s, I was the only young member around. And a lot of the older members didn't want me around. But some others had, hey, without him, this place dies off. It's been the best decision of my life. I joined here when I was 12 years old, and it's been absolutely amazing.
I mean, if it wasn't for the people, I don't think I'd be nearly as involved as I am today. I mean, met some of my greatest friends here. I've brought some friends here, and I mean, the whole Fair Week is really the culmination of that. With everybody's here together, and we make it happen. So here at PTM, I serve as the chairman of our Next Generation Committee. Where basically my job is to engage the young members into activities. Most recently, we led the restoration of the Spirit of 1776 car, and the bulk of that labor was done by volunteers under 30. We had the opportunity to work with some very experienced older volunteers who helped with the harder metal work and trying to advised us along the way. But a lot of the painting, surface prep, body work was done by our younger volunteers, especially those who were in trade school and were able to bring their skills to teach the rest of us.
You need zero experience to join. If you join a museum and organization, everybody there is happy to show you the ropes. You don't even need to have ever picked up a tool in your life, and you can be successful at a museum.
These are dying skills. And even the stuff that's not totally trolley related, like woodworking, metalworking, I mean, those are good skills for, I think, anybody to have. I mean, just being able to get out and do physical things and see the result.
It's a lot of hard, dirty work, but when you see the finished product, you could point to that and say, yeah, I helped with that.
If you have interests in any form of preservation, whether that's local historical societies, to military, to anything, those groups are looking for the next generation, because that generation doesn't really exist among our generation of young people. That this form of preserving history just isn't there when you have video games and other things that people worry about.
If you're looking to get involved, now's the time before all that knowledge dies. Because I mean, without us, it'll end with us. We need to keep the trend of getting new younger people involved and be able to pass this down to future generations. Because historic preservation in general is incredibly important. You know, put down the computer, pick up the screwdriver, and get to work. It really is worth it. I didn't think it would be when I started this, but I can assure you it is.
Before leaving, we catch Red Arrow Line 66 depart the East Campus for a last trip around the railroad before it would return to the car barn for the night. We hope you've enjoyed this year's video on PTM's County Fair Park and Ride operations. If you ever find yourselves in the greater Pittsburgh area, be sure to add PTM as a stop on your travel itinerary. Between the collection of cars, the facility, and the volunteers, it's truly an experience you don't want to miss, even if you aren't visiting for the county fair. If you are visiting for the county fair, consider adding a trolley ride to the day, no matter if it's for convenience or tradition. A thank you is extended to the volunteers who make park and ride operations possible. A special thank you is given to Sean Kenny, Louis Mariano, Dominic Bodick, Jack Jost, and Tom Hildebrand for letting me interview them. For more information about the Pennsylvania Trolley Museum, visit their website at pa-trolley.org. As always, until next year, PTM, thanks for watching.
something you would say to someone who would be interested in volunteering with this kind of stuff in rail preservation?
Dang it, Kristen!
Yeah, there's something holding it on.
Oh, here's Mooney.
Oh, because that's spinning. Beep beep.
Let me guess, Moody?
Yep.
Who's surprised?
Yeah, who else? Who
else on a Pittsburgh PCC?
He's so happy.
Look at him. Smiling.
Make him try to do the speed limit.
See, look, you got your PCC back.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we're about to get really
Hi, David.
Having fun?
I want you to shoot this far.